Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar video. This is going to be my next Legacy of Yangchen chapter analysis video, and this one will be for chapter 14, Bad Company. So we get a Chai-Si focused chapter here. It's quite short, it's only like 4 pages long, but it covers a reasonable amount of ground. There is some slight disappointment here because I believe this is the last Chai-Si focused chapter in the book, where it's like from her perspective. She will be in other chapters as we go forward, but future chapters will always be like her in the same scene as like Yangchen and other characters. So we don't really get much else from her perspective, and it's definitely one of those things from like with how strong the first chapter of the book is and how there's at least one very interesting reveal in this chapter. You kind of wish they had done at least another chapter focusing on it, especially when some of the reveals about kind of what was going on behind the scenes maybe aren't as strong as you maybe would expect, and it really would have helped to have more Chai-Si chapters. But anyway, let's get into this one. So we jump in here, and it is Chai-Si watching over Thapa as he eats. They are in this kind of resort that is basically a business that Chai-Si has purchased. It used to belong to Dushim, but she purchased it after he passed away. So this is a kind of secret kind of premises that she can kind of stash someone. No one will kind of know that he's here. The perfect place to hide Thapa until the mission at Taku actually takes place. But we see that Thapa is eating like a ravenous beast. This is his first time having meat in months because, of course, he was held prisoner by air nomads, so he wasn't getting fed any meat. So he's going kind of crazy on the meat here, making a mess of everything. And Chai-Si's just kind of like watching him, like absolutely appalled at his kind of oafish behavior here. And it's just kind of like, she pushes a stack of napkins over to him and it's just like, please, we're in polite company here, basically. But pretty much after this, we get down to kind of business here of like, she notes that like, hey, I heard that you exercised some initiative. I detest initiative. So this is referring to the fact that she knows there's a reason only one combustion bender has come back to her and not 3. He has obviously decided to get rid of the other 2, and she doesn't like that. Now, it's a pretty composed criticism of him here. She should be furious, and he even kind of says that. He's like, sorry, mother, referencing the letter, of course, because he had to refer to her as mother. That's it, I thought you'd be angrier. But she says, you don't know what I am. Thapa's kind of like, you know, I know you're down a couple of assets. I've saved you having to pay them. Now you have the honor of paying me more. And so this is him basically trying to do exactly what he did to Honshe in the first book, and that is asking for an exorbitant rise in the amount of money that he is to be paid. Otherwise, he is so important, he knows his position as the only combustion bender in the world now, he will go to someone else, basically. That's what he's getting across here. So he asks for 30 times the original agreement for a start. So he's going even, I think, higher here than he did in the first book. And Chai-Si is just kind of thinking to herself, listening to him going on like this, that like, oh, being around air nomads for so long has done nothing to you. You're exactly the same. And she greatly respects the air nomads, and she likes their philosophers, and that pops into her head. Oh, I wonder, has Yangchen read the Shoken book that I gave her? So that's an interesting little moment. But yeah, he just kind of gets across, yeah, I extorted Honshe, but we're true business partners. You know, I'm going to be more reasonable with you because you're the only one who can pay me. Oh, wait, you're not the only one who can pay me. What about the Earth King or the Fire Lord? They might kind of want me. Maybe the Water Tribe Chief too, but perhaps not him. I don't want to go to like a cold area, basically. He doesn't want to go to the Water Tribes. And he's just trying to basically point out that I am the only combustion bender. You have to deal with me. You have to come up to some sort of a new agreement with me. Chai-Si at this point is thinking, and she's not really talking to him much. This is all kind of in her head, kind of just reacting to his kind of behavior here. She's just noting that, oh, he is a prisoner enjoying his new freedom, and he is eating here in the exact same way that sailors act on shore leave. And because she, of course, grew up on like an island where she would experience this before, she kind of knows how to how people like this are, where like they think they can get away with so much, and they just, the approach that they take. And she just decides that actually, no, there will be no New Deal. Not because I can't afford it, but because I won't allow it. I don't do business with people lacking in character. So he goes to leave at this point. He pretty much goes to walk out the door and just turns back like, last chance to do a deal with me. Jaisi just sits down, watches him kind of walk out, but then just says this. Basically, as he takes a step out the door. Upon fickle whim, the mind invites its masters. And then she snaps her fingers, and then Thapa just stops. And then he responds, the eyes and ears, 4 gates to block the conquering truth. And Jaisi stops. Thapa doesn't say anything, so she seems to have control over him here with some brainwashing, basically. So she's like, lower your head, lower, more, he does it. So this is where it is noted that, yes, she considered that Thapa might very well have done her a favor by murdering the other 2 firebenders. He'd always taken to the conditioning the best out of the 3. And his treacherous nature didn't matter when she could force his pliancy. So there we go. And she even notes that like this is one of the reasons that Honshu was kind of doomed to fail, because all of the combustion benders like have a strong will of their own, and it's only she who knows about this kind of brainwashing kind of thing to actually truly control them. So he was always doomed to fail, whereas she actually has control, even if Thapa comes across as being this kind of uncontrollable character who knows exactly what he's worth. So crazy kind of turn of events here. And she's like, okay, I have to make sure that I have full control over them. Pick up that knife and stab yourself in the thigh. Don't hit an artery and speak normally, because she's thinking to herself, it's going to be a bit weird if he's fully under my control, but he's almost speaking like a robot. So it's just like, be a bit more natural. So he picks up the knife and is just like, I'll do it, but it'll cost you. And she's just like, but he's like, kidding, how many times? And that's where the chapter ends. So it's a weird one, because you almost in the book never really come back to this. It is referenced twice, I believe, after this in the book. One of them is surprisingly super subtle, and I'm excited to get to that chapter. The other one is a little bit more obvious, but it in a way, because there's so much of a gap between the 2 kind of mentions of it, it almost is this forgotten thing in the book that like, oh yeah, kind of Dai Li-esque brainwashing has come up in this book as a plot point here. And you wonder like, okay, well, what's the details behind this? How did she know how to do this? And when did this happen? It's obviously part of their training and stuff like that, they do the training to somehow unlock their combustion bending, but then they also do some sort of a brainwashing type thing as well. But you have the question the whole time through. How does she know about this? And how does she know about combustion bending? Like those are still the kind of key questions in all of this. So interesting stuff. My assumption is the specifics of what is said here, because it's not like the Earth King has invited you to Lake Laogai. It's upon fickle whim, the mind invites its masters. I think that's meant to be a Shoken quote. I think it would be very fitting for the character. You do get a reference to Shoken, like the page before this, basically. And she seems to very much lean in that direction of like that kind of philosophy. That approach is kind of the approach she takes of being kind of wise but kind of blunt, and kind of brutal in a way, which is kind of the signature kind of trademarks of the Shoken philosophy here. And so interesting kind of turn here that Thapa seems almost kind of uncontrollable in a way. He's fully bought into the importance of himself. Can anyone control him? But no, she does have full control. So important moment to happen in the book to kind of get this, but also to, like, I think truly highlight at this point, like, the combustion benders are just, you know, pawns in this. Like, because two of them are now dead and now Thoppa is under mind control, like, the unique identity of these three characters with this ability is just completely gone from the story here, and they are just, they kind of just exist as people who have a technique rather than true individuals in a way. And that's what all the world leaders are doing. It's what Chai-Si is doing. Even Yangchen, to a certain degree, you can maybe say, is only thinking about them on the basis of what their abilities are. So there is an underlying sadness to this whole thing of just this, the mere existence of this ability forces the people who have it to think of themselves in such a specific way, and they're always going to be attempted to be controlled and manipulated. But that is the kind of point kind of being made here. So, you know, interesting chapter, but definitely getting the sense that almost there's an over caution in how some of the Chai-Si scenes are being written, how much should be revealed or not be revealed. But anyway, we'll discuss that as the book goes on. But that has been my thoughts on chapter 14. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were, but that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.